good. Hello, Enrique. How are you?
Hello, Peter. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. That was just a rough start. I was thinking that I will be doing alone these things today.
Because I joined the stream in a couple of seconds before, but there's more than enough to be here ready.
We are getting better and better in just in time, guys. So if you know, my adrenaline level is just on the top of my head right now. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you very much, Enrique, for joining just the last second. So it's great.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Because usually, guys, we have like 2-3 minutes before to prepare it, but this we just straight go live. So it's just you can see us just fresh from the network. Thank you guys for joining us today. This is just a great today. We are in the next couple of weeks. We'll be finishing up the season 3. So if you wish to look at the season 1, season 2, it's just season 1 was about the definition of BIM. Season 2 is more about the money. In season 3, we try to find a purpose. So just it's more about the getting the understanding and how we can just go faster with the digital transformation. We're preparing the season 4, so we will see how it will go in the next after vacation, how it will fly. But which is very new, very open, very different subject, more challenging, I think. So very good to see.
I'm ready for ideas. So you want to have any comment? Firstly, you're watching this live. Say hello wherever you are. We'd like to see your interactions. And just quickly, commercial break, right? As always, before we jump on with our today's interview. Newsletter, please, guys. 9,500 people nearly there. Subscribe. You will get the notification once a week only in LinkedIn for new articles. New one coming today afternoon. So if you want to keep an eye on the work we do, please subscribe. Scan the QR code or just type in Google LinkedIn the BIM Cafe newsletter. You will get it as a first result for sure.
Exactly. Well said, guys. Just help us just to grow the community. I think it's important. We will try just to really push the information around the digital transformation, the construction to the next level. So I think it's really important that you share the information about our channel, our streaming, and also the materials which we are publishing. So thanks a lot for that.
Excellent. Well, so let's get ready for today's interview, right, Peter? You know what is the topic of today?
That was a good one. That was a good one, as all of them, of course. But we are still friends after the interview, so I think it's a good one. So it's good with our guests, so it's good.
Perfect. So we had the pleasure to have Paul Wilkinson today this week with us in the BIM Cafe. Paul, he's working on the consultancy business for the construction industry for a long time, and he saw many changes going on the industry through the years, and now he's focusing on delivering. Working on the interoperability. Oh my God, this word is hard to get out from my mouth. Let me show the slides so everyone can get a glimpse of Paul Wilkinson, what he does and everything. And we have a very nice discussion about, of course, interoperability, the state of the construction industry, and what are the problems, what are the fixings, potential fixes, and so on. So Paul Wilkinson today, thank you so much, Paul, and all the people who are already waiting to join the interview, which is going to be released in 25 minutes. But first of all, let's gonna get the best moments, right? And to start this selection, I prepare one funny clip at the beginning when Paul is sharing his views about what is the nirvana state of the construction industry. So let's take a look.
Nirvana state, I like it.
I mean, it's been a major problem for a long time. I recall being at an industry conference more than 20 years ago where we were talking about poor interoperability. And we're still talking about poor interoperability 20 years later. It's not really been tackled, but that's symptomatic of an industry which has been very slow in making that digital transformation journey. I've seen a lot of change, but we haven't reached the destination yet. There is potentially some kind of nirvana further down the road, and I would love for us to reach that nirvana. And so I will carry on evangelizing in the hope that we reach that point. But it's going to be a long journey. But you have to start making some steps. We've taken a lot of steps, but compared to other industries, we've got to do some catching up. So it's not like we're still at the beginning. We're some way still we've made some good progress down the road, but we could put our foot to the floor a bit more and accelerate. I think historically, IT, any kind of investment in digital technology was for a long time seen as an overhead, and an overhead cut into the margins. And so, many construction businesses were constrained in what they could spend. This is sadly a low margin industry, and it's difficult with those low margins for people to invest to create extra value. I think where organizations have been encouraged is when they've got clients that start to demand a more joined up approach, and start to demand digital technologies as a key requirement for projects. When the client starts asking for it and is willing to pay for it, that's when you start to get some change.
It looks like just the IT guys are still just lagging and just pushing these things down. I don't know.
So what is that nirvana state waiting for us on the end of the road? What do you think, Peter? What is this kind of ideal construction world after all the digital implementation? How do you see it?
No, when I'm looking at it right now, I think this is because I get educated by you and by the people over the last 2 years. So for what I see is just it will not be achievable in the very short, in the near future. So just the nirvana state for me is like all of the processes are integrated from the manufacturing, supply chain, and everything, the design and feedback loop. Going back into the manufacturers about the changes, etc. But this is really require significant changes in the whole communication way of the industry. So it's really just putting something much stronger in terms of the smaller companies pushing the new small innovations around. This is huge industry. I didn't realize this before. 2 years ago, I thought it was just okay. Construction is just it's okay.
Putting bricks one on top of each other.
No, but right now I think it's 5 times bigger than when we look at recently on the Comtech. The Comtech is 4 times bigger than PropTech in terms of the investments, etc. Amazing. So I think only one thing, it will not be a big change. Only the small changes, which will just try to ignite just to move over the bigger one to streamline the process.
A continuous flow. I agree. And also to recall what Paul mentioned at the end of the clip as well, tight margins is true. It's a tight margin industry, so there is no much sandbox to play around with the profits or the benefits, and also if the client requires for this, that will be your final push. But it shouldn't just come from the client, it should come as well from your beliefs, and so on. But we're working on tight margins, so that's where innovation.
I'm just thinking about it, Enrique, because you start right now asking me the tough questions on the beginning when I used to use this for our guests. So I'm just thinking, are you just taking the bad example from me or something?
I hope not.
No, it's okay. It's Friday. It's most of the free day in Europe. Most of European countries is the people take the bank holiday as well. So just it's okay. No worries.
Well, so let's carry on. And the next clip is something that actually is common in our guests. We ask them always about digitalization, the construction state, the state of the industry to kick off the conversation, and they all agree on 2 things. The industry is old. The industry is really, really, really behind on lacking the innovations, right? So let's see Paul's views on it.
When I first went into an office for the consulting engineering firm, people were working on drawing boards. They were using paper. It was very much a paper-driven industry in terms of design and exchanging information. By the time I left, those drawing boards were more or less redundant. They'd switched to CAD. So I saw in the space of just 7 or 8 years at that company, the first stages of that shift towards digitizing some of the work that they were doing. Essentially, though, they weren't exchanging information. They were just making it a little bit more productive. But if we look at some of the surveys that we've had over recent times, despite the advances that we've had with the internet, the World Wide Web, mobile devices, the construction industry still lags behind every other major industry. McKinsey talk about digital transformation. They have a digitization index, and depending upon which McKinsey survey you look at, construction lags behind agriculture and hunting in America, or is just above agriculture and hunting in America. And in Europe, it's right at the bottom. Even agriculture is more digitally advanced than construction in Europe. So, there are some major challenges. This is really where, I've been fighting these battles for a couple of decades now, trying to help the industry improve and look at, in some cases, the transformations which have happened in other spaces and see what we can learn from them.
I think we just need to stop talking about this McKinsey report, because in most of the part we're talking about it, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's why I introduced this, as this is the common part of our
guys.
of
Just
our
for the
guys.
next interviews when we will be doing, just no McKinseys. Again, I like the guys; it's just very good, but not McKinsey index for the construction industry. I think you guys make a fortune on this. And in McKinsey, if you wish to just be a sponsor of our podcast or streaming, it's okay. Come over and let's.
We already did our job, no? Talking about your support, so.
Okay.
Yeah, well, no much comments here. This is the same thing we discussed with pretty much all of our guys. The industry all needs to be renewed. It's very fragmented, and we're gonna crack into that. And one of the main things to talk about of the fragmentation of the industry, of course, goes with interoperability. I'm gonna try to say it properly this time. It's a key factor, Paul. Also, the friend is, I don't know if Peter, you really are a fan of the interoperability or not. No, I have also my doubt, but of course we need to work on having this common language is on the market. So what do you think? You think interoperability is really the solution for the industry, or is just another problem?
I think it's. I don't think so. Interoperability will be the big one. And again, sorry, just a quick interruption. Peter, thank you very much for joining, and thanks for putting the comments on the chat. Very nice to see you. That's great. We have more comments as well coming. So, but it's just to see the new name. So, thank you for joining us. Interoperability. I will put it as a bar on the bottom in a second. I think one of the key elements, it will not be interoperability. It will be more related to the openness of the standards. So I don't think so that you will just need to create the interfaces and making sure that this is like I open it, and if you wish to use it, and use it with the stuff which I have it. So I don't think so. This will be really the way forward. I'm just trying to make the parallel to the healthcare industry, when they try just for the years right now just to run it and do the some of the systems which talks to each other. It's really tough. So on the beginning, we were talking about the interfacing and making sure that we can just have the common platforms, common interfaces, not really fly and with the speed what we thought. So I think it will be very similar to the construction. So I think that's really they're the fastest ways to go, Enrique. Sorry for disappointing you, but
no worries. This was just a bite. So let's see what Paul says, because he's seen interoperability is a big issue and it costs us a lot of money. So let's see.
Poor interoperability was holding industry back and costing particularly the asset owner operators huge sums of money every year. So there was a study in the United States which conservatively estimated that poor interoperability cost, though that the business is there, some £15 billion a year, every year. And that was the costs of either trying to avoid poor interoperability, mitigating the effects of poor interoperability, or the big one, delays due to poor interoperability. And if we extrapolate that to another economy like the UK, in 2002, that would have been the equivalent of £1 billion a year in an industry. So that would have taken 1% of gross value add from the construction industry. So it's a big number. if you look at it, other surveys have identified that poor interoperability adds 3% to project costs and adds 3% time to project schedules. And it also takes up a huge amount of individual practitioners' time. Even the government has identified that some of its civil servants spend, as much as 2/3, maybe even 80% of their time managing inconsistent and poor quality data.
You can see, and just the interoperability, which the word which we are trying to learn, all of us together right now today. I think, when I was just browsing it and I was trying just to challenge Paul about it, there are some funny facts about it, saying just, and the definition about it is interoperability is like assembling IKEA furniture without instruction, and just also just doing this from the different countries. And at the end, something becoming functional, not sure if it's really the things which you were expecting, but
Yeah, totally. Well, those numbers on the survey that the Paul shared, they're really big and scary, right? It's true that some of them dated from more than 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but talking about over a 3% of project cost because of delays or management of the data is something, of course, to consider there. So yes, there is a problem. How big and how important, or how we need to tackle it? Like you said, Peter, maybe it's not talking about, let's create the unique file or the unique software way, not just open our standards so everyone is, instead of getting something new to merge all, why don't we open ourselves to be accessible? No, I think it's a good approach over there. So jumping on the next one, we're gonna keep talking about interoperability. This is the main core today. Again, sorry for that if you're not interested. So no, there's good picks coming up, guys. 6 pillars for that. I'm not gonna reveal them. Paul is gonna tell us which are those pillars, the most important ones to be on the interoperability basis.
Pinning principles that support this, and I think this is where it starts to explain why interoperability is important. So we have, for example, longevity. It's about ensuring that information has a long duration, it can be used for a long time, and it's reliable. It's about having information which is secure, so we can securely exchange information, and be confident about that information is managed with appropriate regard to personal data, to confidentiality, and to the security of potentially sensitive information. We're talking also about how interoperability will support information ownership, so that the client can take control and use the information throughout the life cycle of their assets, and extracting value from that. This is all about feeding the value cycle, so that as people compile information during the planning and design and construction of a project, they're progressively adding value to that information, and so that they're then in a position to hand over a complete view of the asset, completely documented, accurately documented, so that it can then be properly managed throughout its life cycle by the owner. And it's also about competition. Here we are seeking to ensure that more people can compete in the game. This is about collaborating on the rules and then competing in the game, as I've heard it described, so that more people are able to compete on projects, not simply because they own the high-end BIM application, but they have the capability of delivering information in the right format at the right time to the right specification required by their customer.
Right format, right specification. I think we repeating these things over it, so that I think that Paul, he summarized it pretty well, all of our previous interviews as well, in the very concise way. So I think that was very, very good summary from him on this one.
And I highlight the last part of the competition. No, we have a good interoperability. All the players can play this on the same with the same rules. So this is something that Paul highlighted, and it's true that having a good interoperability is going to be good in general for the whole market, the whole environment, because all the companies can play at the same level with the rules. With competition, you also get better, right? So it's something that you need to be better. You need to have someone which is following your steps or a few steps ahead, so you have this push to become to offer better solutions or improve your services. So it's important to have it there under the interoperability. Well, let's stop to say that word for a for a few minutes. Huh? Sounds good. We're going to talk a bit about BIM, since our show is called the BIM Cafe. We asked Paul about his view on BIM adoption in general, and he said a number. He said 30% he thinks is the adoption rate of BIM in general in the world. I don't know if it's not based on statistics. He showed us his view, but let's see his arguments on this.
I think BIM adoption is slowly growing. There will be some surveys which are completed by the BIM enthusiasts, and they're always going to say we're doing 90% BIM or 70% BIM. The reality on the ground is probably it's more like 30% BIM across the broader range of industry. But if you were to say, are you doing information management? I'd say it's probably 100, more or less 100%. Maybe it's 90%. There'll be some people who are still working with paper and writing things on the backs of envelopes and stuff like that. But we're all information managers now, and the use of email, sending documents, sending spreadsheets, managing digital imagery. These are all information management processes. And this is where interoperability creeps in there as well. We need to be able to exchange information in a huge variety of formats to enable a wide range of workflows. It's not just about the building information modeling aspect. It's that whole aspect of information management. And I think, as in our daily lives, we're often using very sophisticated apps on our smartphones and tablets to do very routine things. And it's sometimes frustrating that the things we take for granted in terms of information being literally at our fingertips. We can tap on a screen and pull up a piece of information about maybe me catching a train into central London. I can see a train going across the railway line in front of me at the moment, and I can tell you what time that would get me to London Bridge. But I wouldn't be able to do the same thing if somebody's presenting with a schedule. I wouldn't have any reliable information to say that lorry is actually going to deliver that load of concrete to my construction site in the next few minutes. We don't have that sophisticated just-in-time delivery type logistical capability in many of our projects yet. But I'm hopeful that some of that will come in the fullness of time. So not just BIM, but just a lot more joined up thinking and a lot more joined up technology to help us get there.
What do you think?
So it's a good example. Yeah, it's a good example. What he mentioned about the train schedules in terms of data information management implementation. It's true that you can browse in your phone quickly. At what time the train arrives on London Bridge, as Paul said. But if you have this old style printed post on the pole, and you get to check, okay, today's Wednesday, this time, no? It's harder. So of course the data information, the handle of data information is way better for the industry. And what he said that if we talk about that, nearly 100% of people will say, yes, we do information management, but those 30% is talking about BIM. So that's why we were talking about this rebranding BIM as information management. And something we discussed also with Casey Rowland a few interviews ago, and it's also a common topic we are having in between our guests.
I think from my perspective, really is just. I'm frustrated that it's slow, so for sure that everybody knows about it. But I think it's also fragmentation. I'm not sure if this is something which we need to watch it more closely in the next couple of weeks. Really, this fragmentation of the industry, and when we talk about it, most of our guests talk about the bigger corporations, but they're not talking about the entrepreneurship. And if you have a 20, 50 people company, I just, come on, that's on my last list of needs, to really make it sure
Of
that
course, of
it's
course.
interoperable. And
Even the word is hard.
yeah, I don't know who just got this. We need to find something better. Yeah, but we'll see.
Well, you mentioned the topic for our last clip to close the episode today, and it's fragmentation. Of course, this is something again which is in the common talks with our guests, the fragmentation of the industry, and the reasons why we end up having this industry in such a state. So let's close up the episode listening to Paul for the last time, and then you guys can jump into the full interviews in a bit released in 3 minutes, and we say goodbye and wish you a good.
In 4 minutes, you will see the release. Okay,
4
let's listen to the last one.
To how fragmented many of our project teams are. We talk a lot about tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 project teams. Tier 1 contractors in the UK are the big main contractors. They're then working with a set of suppliers. Those suppliers or subcontractors are then working with subcontractors and suppliers and manufacturers downstream. Contrast that with other industry sectors where they've got much more integrated supply chains, where they're connected in real time. If you look at the retail sector or many of the logistics sectors, where an automotive and aerospace, there is a lot of just-in-time delivery from supply chains into factories, so they're able to pull the information they need. And we're starting to see some of those changes happening in construction. The platform approach where they're deploying off-site technologies, and they're looking at ways in which components can and buildings can literally be built from kits of parts brought together on site in a logical order and assembled quickly by teams on site with less risk. That's beginning to happen already. So, we are seeing some steps forward, but we've got to address a lot of the fragmentation that we have at the moment and start to bring together much more integrated supply chains. And information has to be the glue that helps those supply chains work together efficiently. Know where each party is, know what information they need at different points in time, supply the right information at the right time, and then supply the products and components at the right time.
Well said. My God, that's good that we have such Sorry?
Yeah, the good point here. I really like what you said, Paul, that the information data needs to be the glue. This is something, a new expression of giving the emphasis to the data, and I think it's good to put it in bold in capitals. That is where we need to put our focus, and the data needs to be uniting all these different silos or part from the fragmented industry that we currently have.
Agreed. That's what really the wise comment at the end and the whole interview. So guys, do not hesitate. Thank you very much for watching us. Thank you for taking the time. I think we're beating we bet the record in the YouTube viewers, which is very small still, but it's going up.
For the streaming is not bad.
Yeah, we have an average on LinkedIn today, guys, but I understand that that's a holiday and that's the bridge. People take the bridge, so that's okay. Don't worry, it's just no big problem. You can watch it offline. The one thing you don't forget about it. If you can just subscribe to. Hold on, I just need to show. Yeah.
Some seconds delay over there.
If you can subscribe to our newsletter on the LinkedIn, that will be really great. And also just subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for being this. Click it, support us. The season 4 will be revolutionary after vacation, so let's just prepare for it, making sure that we have the full audience, and we will just restart it quickly after vacation. So another 4 episodes, I think, 4 episodes to go, and then we will be ready for going for the next season and vacation. Yeah.
Exactly. So thank you so much, guys. Remember, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter as well. The new article is coming up very, very soon. So keep an eye on that. Also give us the support as well on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great, beautiful weekend ahead. And as Peter said, 3 episodes to go. So enjoy it and see you soon.
See you soon, guys. Thanks, Enrique. Thanks for stressing me out in the morning when just 30 seconds before the preview. That was the new. This is the premiere, guys. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy weekend. Thank you for being with us.
Bye.
Bye bye.